What's going on, everybody? On tap today, I got a guest who is not two, but Juan Damaris. This guy spent years in the Marines, in the CHP, and he has opened up 3 barbershops called Primos in Winters, Vacaville, and Dixon. His most favorite is obviously being in Winters. And recently, in the times of quarantine, Uncle Sam came a knocking and said to close up shop. Well, Juan said, "I'm Mr. Krabs. You ain't gonna stop me from making me money." So on this podcast, we get into that, what it was like, what he went through. He's been on CNN, he's been on Fox, and now he's going to complete the media trifecta by coming on the Trial and Error podcast. So hope you guys enjoy it, and almost as much as you enjoy this, Primo's coffee that you can only get at Steady Eddie's in Winters. Couldn't even handle him back then.
I know.
All right, so we're rolling. Juan, thank you for having me. Chosen Juan.
Thank
Here,
you, man.
Primos in Vacaville.
Number Juan
in everybody's hearts.
Yeah.
Let's go over your resume a little bit. Just some military service in the Marines, some CHP action.
Yeah, I was infantry in the Marine Corps, security forces a little bit before that, stationed all over the place, and then after I got out of the Marine Corps, joined the Highway Patrol. However, they froze out their academy. So I went over to the Sheriff Department, worked as a correctional officer for about a year and a half, and then the CHP called me back and worked with them for about another 10 years.
They knew you were coming, so they're like, we can't let this guy in. We got to hold him off as long as possible.
We got funding. Let's bring him back.
Dude, one of my buddies is a correctional officer at Solano County, and he's got some stories, like some of the stuff and how to handle situations, and the like there's lingo, there's Pruno, there's so much politics and everything that goes into just a county jail.
It's true. You know what? However, the county was probably the biggest blessing because it really it gives you like a base on what to get ready for on the street. I mean,
right.
You learn how to talk shit. You learn how to, I think every law enforcement officer should have to do at least 1 year in a county level jail.
Would that be a good kind of preliminary? These are the types of people that you're going to be identifying with. These are criminals.
It's a revolving door. If you work at the county jail, you're seeing the same guys over and over and over, and probably even more so now. I mean, there's no bail schedule. You pretty much everyone hates cops, and it's too easy to get out of jail. It's actually hard to put someone in jail nowadays.
I know, to get all the health care and all the education and whatnot. They take care of you. My buddy said that there's the revolving doors also true because it's easier for people to that's their life. They know how the system works. They know,
they're programmed.
Exactly.
They're programmed. I mean, I was a group home kid before that. I grew up on Midway Road in a group home. Since the day I was 10, I ran away from there when I was 16. Lived on miscellaneous families here in Vacaville.
Oh, wow.
Rented rooms out, and then I joined the Marine Corps. But, I mean, all those guys that I was in the group home with, I literally seen them all in the county jail.
Really?
And these guys are the guys I grew up with. So, I mean, on some level, I believe everyone has a choice. I'll tell you what, if I wasn't a good cop, I would have been a great bad guy.
You think so?
Yeah.
It could have gone either a few choices in life. You could have easily been looking at a buddy as the officer and you in jail.
Right. And you know what? I owe 90% of that to the Marine Corps. I'll always love the Marine Corps for that. They gave me the family. They gave me the pride. They gave me the discipline. It was exactly what I needed. And if I had to do it over again, I'd do it 1,000 times over again.
How many years were you in the Marine Corps for?
4 years.
4 years?
Just did my regular 4-year stint. I did some time in the Middle East. I also did a couple pumps at Okinawa, cold weather packages in Bridgeport. It was a lot of fun. 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines.
I was going to say, where was your favorite place for like R&R or just
going
out traveling?
The best place in the whole world that I've ever been stationed was Bahrain.
Where's that?
It's like a small island off the coast of Saudi Arabia. It's its own kingdom though. Has a king, a emir. But it's the Las Vegas of the Middle East. It's the only place in the Middle East you can drink. They have bars. There's a huge hub of like different airlines. So you have like Dutch girls there, Russian girls there, Filipino girls there, Dimitri, like all these stewardesses from all over the world. That's like a main hub, and then they go from there to the Middle East.
It's a Marine's dream, like stationed over there. Good Lord.
And you know what? There's the Middle Eastern people there are really westernized. It's Bahrain's the place to be, man.
I thought it was
if
like
you want to go like
Abu
across
Dhabi.
That's another place that's close. Dubai, Abu Dhabi.
Dubai, yeah.
But I would say Bahrain's the most liberal, most Las Vegas-y feeling. I mean, Saudi princes come over there just to have parties, and they're throwing down like. Oh. They're not throwing down like a couple thousand like.
No, they're buying the place.
They're buying like, Bentleys for people and that they just have a good night with.
Were you buddies with any? Like, hey, let's go rub shoulders with the sheik.
No, I mean, but we definitely had some fun with some different sheiks. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then they were just, it's all expenses paid night kind of thing.
They have more money than God. They could easily. They couldn't spend enough.
Those guys were. I think there's a quick story. One kid was shooting pool. He was a PFC or whatever, unknown, and he bet this guy who's talking all this like, oh, I have all this and this, and that he was he bet him like a Beamer. But the Marine was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, sure, I bet you a Beamer. Like he thought he was joking. He thought he was joking. So long story short, they shoot pool, and the Marine wins. And I think 2 days later, there's a BMW delivered outside the base, and they're like, it's for this kid. And it's like, what?
No,
like that's a real, like for real. And so I don't even think he knew what to do with it.
Are you able to? Well, I think getting cars shipped overseas would just be more expensive than
he probably sold it to someone there and got the cash for it, but
just to have a car waiting for you.
Actually, when I was there, if you go back there, I think Oprah and like Hallmark TV made a movie about one of the Marines, dumbass Marines, kidnapped or they ran away with one of the princesses of the party of the kingdom, right? Yeah. She falls in love with him. He falls in love with her, and he basically they makes these fake military orders, fake IDs. And she just runs away. It's out of nowhere, right? Freaking Bahrain royalty was pissed at the Marine Corps. I mean, they wanted answers. They wanted their
This actually all happened.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally watch.
Damn.
You can look at. I think it was 1999. Right before the year 2000, because I was there for Y2K.
Okay.
Shortly after, but I mean, you can look it up. His name was PFC Johnson. Brought her back. She claimed asylum because she's like, hey, if I go back, they're gonna murder me.
They would execute him.
Yeah, because I shamed the royal family.
Yeah.
And so they moved, and he got out, went to Las Vegas. It lasted maybe a couple years, and the problem with bringing a woman from overseas over here to America. That's royalty there, and you're a regular woman here. Mm-hmm. The expectation's not. Yeah, you know what I mean. You got to bring like a poor woman back as your wife, so she can be like, "Oh my God, this is awesome."
It reminds me of
a rich woman,
reverse Coming to America type situation.
Totally.
God damn.
It had to be like that. So she's like, "Yeah, you're not providing me."
Who are that? Yeah. I don't want to poo-poo on the Marine Corps. On a Marine's salary, not able to meet all the demands.
$1,400 a month.
That.
Yeah.
And then you owe some.
Base housing and all that stuff.
God, one of my buddies, he got out. He's telling me how they take the costs for your uniform or for whatever kind of equipment you need.
They take it out, yeah.
Wow.
It sounds, but again, if you're a young 18-year-old kid trying to get out of mom's house because, you want to live independently, hey, the military's a great option.
Yeah.
You get a lot of great benefits. It's like having a safety net. Like, you can't call it your parent, but you don't have to pay for food, you don't have to pay for clothing, you don't have to pay for rent, your electricity, your water's free. I mean, I guess if you want a cell phone and some internet, you have to throw down on that.
Yeah.
But then you could waste all your money on beer and pizza and still really not have, be out on the street. You know what I mean?
I really didn't know what I was going to do with my life until, essentially after college. I got done screwing off, and then, stuck looking for jobs. I have a degree that I could use as a mouse pad. That's about as good as a degree is for you these days.
I think the problem with the degree is that was an American dream that's not our generation.
It's not.
So it was the American dream. Hey, look, get a degree, you'll get a great job, you'll get paid tons of money. Now a degree gets you an assistant manager position at Red Robin. Yum. You know that if you would have just stayed for 2 years after high school at Red Robin, you would have been an assistant manager anyways, right? Mm-hmm. So it really, a college degree as far as a BA level is just a piece of paper at this point.
It's a piece of paper. Hopefully in that time you make connections to where that piece of paper, the process of getting that
I guess the goal, I guess it's a great thing because you can show that you can learn.
Yeah.
You can take instruction and learn, but that's really about it. You have to have something included with it, like a military career with a college degree.
Something.
That's great because now you went out there, you utilized your degree, you became a leader, something like that. You just can't go out there with and that's the problem with the young generation nowadays. They think they get the 4-year degree. Let's even say they get a law degree. They go a little bit farther. They want that corner office with, in Manhattan making, $600,000 a year minimum with a Porsche given to them. So no one wants to earn that.
They want to be that Gordon Gekko. They just want it. They think they're.
And then they'll go be a public defender, and they're making $38,000. You know what I mean? And so they're like, wait a minute, I got ripped off here.
Yeah.
And on some level, but it's always about patience. That's why trades like a barbering. Like, who would have thought that? I was making a lot of money as a highway patrolman. Let's say $110,000 a year.
Yeah.
I was bringing home, and that was a great lifestyle. And so when I lost that career, I thought, oh my gosh, man, like I'm never gonna get to this point again. Like I'm screwed, right? Mm-hmm. But being in this trade for less than 4 years, I own 3 shops. I make amazing money.
It's cool.
Yeah, salute, right?
There we go.
And I have like a 19-year-old kid that works for me, making 10 G's a month as a 19-year-old.
No
I mean, this is a great industry to be a part of. This is maybe a shop like this is a $70,000 investment. You buy it off of a guy for $30,000, right? It didn't look like this, so I had to put
this paint, the lights, everything.
Right, I had to put $40,000 the brick in here. I had all these lights, make it fancy, put the stuff on the wall. But really, it was like a $40,000 investment. So you're talking about like 2 Honda Civics, right? Mm-hmm. That I bought it and upgraded and it makes its money back in less than a year.
Is this your first one right here?
This is my second one. The first one was in my winner's one.
Oh, winner's number 1.
Right.
There we go.
Winner's number 1. I bought that, gutted it, remodeled it.
From that used to be Main Event. Vince.
Vince owned it first, but then there was a young kid who bought it, and he owned it for maybe a year and a half. Mm-hmm. His name was Nick, just a young Air Force guy. Somehow he got lucky and paid Vince imploded it for some reason.
Yeah.
And he got it for a steal of deal. I think he paid $13,000 for it. Dumbed it down, made it super cheap, super because he didn't want to spend any money.
You gotta make it look good in here. You gotta be welcome in here.
That's why when I bought it from him, the first thing I did was gut it, remodel it, and make it. You got to spend money to make money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I said, it still was a low investment. I think I bought it from Nick for $30,000. Mm-hmm. I put another $30,000 into it for $60,000. I have the cleanest, coolest shop in all the Winners. You know what I mean? It's a tattoo shop now. It's a lot of fun to be there. And then it came out so well that if you go to my Vacaville shop and you go to my Dixon shop, it looks like just a bigger.
It's got a similar vibe. This one has a really very similar vibe to Winners.
It's got the same light bulbs. It's got the same brick. It's got the same flags on it. It's got the same patches on the wall. It's got the same chalkboard artwork. So it looks like a franchise, but it's really not. So, like I said, in 3 years, I basically built myself a franchise, and I'm killing it. Like,
was this all your kind of design?
Yeah.
Like a twinkling? When did Primo's when did this become like your
I
thing?
literally threw it up. So let me go back.
Yeah.
Real quick. I lost my job for medical injuries in the highway patrol, and I was like, wow, I don't know what I'm going to do, because the problem with the highway patrol is I made that who I was instead of what I did, right? And that could be anyone's career. Like, if you make your career who you are instead of what you do, there's always going to be problems with that.
Yeah.
So you got to, who you are is like a husband. I'm a father. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm a freaking, a media. This is what I like. These are the things that we do, right? That should be who you are. I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a fisherman. Mm-hmm. Those are the important things in life, right? What you do and how you earn your paycheck is not who you are. It's just what you do. So the problem with the highway patrol is I made that who I was instead of what I did. I was one of the cops. So when I lost that because of injury, I'm like,
who the hell am I?
What am I going to do? Like, I'm no one. Like, and I got real lucky because the highway patrol had to retrain me. And one of the things I picked up in the Marine Corps was cutting hair, and I just
just high tights,
just high tights
all day.
At first, so the Marine Corps, we wear our covers, like really high, right? Mm-hmm. So I was dating this girl who I ended up marrying, have a couple kids with, and Alicia was a cosmetologist. So I was like, oh, hey, honey, like, I can't be coming here, like, driving 9 hours to come see you and go back 9 hours later, and try to get a haircut in between. I have no time. Give me those clippers that you got. Mm-hmm. Cosmos don't use their clippers anyway, so she gave me the clippers. And I literally used to put my cover on, and I used to shave my head bald,
just bowl
give
cut
myself we call them barracks cuts. They're ugly, right? Like worse than a bowl cut. And so everyone found out I had clippers. So they're like, dude, just because if you don't get your haircut fresh by Monday morning, you're a dead man.
Really?
So I was just buzzing everyone's head off. Like there was nothing pretty about it. It was just as long as you put on your cover and there's bald skin under that, you're good to go. Mm-hmm. So I would just bald everyone out to their cover and then send them on their way. And hopefully Monday after formation they would go and get it fixed, right?
Yeah.
Well, one day I just kind of figured out like, oh, dude, if you do this, it fades. So it became a cool little hobby. So then I actually, when I married Alicia, we would seriously make like a lot of money because we'd cut like 200-300 Marines between us on a weekend, charge them each $5, and we were killing
just in and out.
We were killing it, in and out, having a good time. Everyone brought beer, everyone brought pizza. Our house, our barracks house, was the place to be, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone get haircuts, and we'd get paid. Like,
did she teach you some tricks along the way, or did you just kind of figure it out? If I
figured it out, and then she had some base, and then so she figured out how we had it done, and we just knocked it out.
That's sick.
Like if you try to get faded by her today, she doesn't do them anymore, right? So she lost it. My son, she's still a cosmetologist, but she does hair and makeup and all that crap. So I've always kept it. Like I'd always do the guys at the station. I do, like I kept my buddy next door neighbor was a Marine, so we'd give each other our kids haircuts.
That's sick.
So it was so when the highway patrol was like, "Hey, you're injured. We have to retrain you. What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "What can I do?" They're like, "Well, you have to."
You can be like a radio guy,
right?
Something like that.
You can go to radiation school. You can go to nursing school. You just can't be a cop. You're not allowed to be a cop. Right? So I'm like, okay, well, fudge. Like, can I go to barber school? Because, I'd done my ex-wife's books, so I was familiar with the industry. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, okay, can I be a barber? And they're like, okay, we'll check. So they checked, and they're like, yeah, we can send you to barber school, pay for your equipment.
They paid for it?
Yeah, they paid for it.
That's
paid me. I used my GI Bill, I got the double dip. Mm-hmm. And here I am. I'm a barber. 3 years ago, I got so Nick, the guy who owned the barbershop in Winters.
Yeah.
I walked in there one day and he's like, "Hey man, what can I help you? You need a haircut?" I'm like, "No, I'm just checking out barbershops. Like I've never been to Winters, which is weird because I've lived in Vacaville my whole life. Winters is this great little gem that I adore Winters now.
What brought you over there? Like just curiosity?
Funny story.
No,
it's like so. My buddy Tony. Again, I was just going to barber school. I was just chilling, and my buddy Tony, Marine buddy of mine from Oregon or Washington State. Mm-hmm. Comes down, visits, hangs out for a couple weeks, and he's like, "Hey, dude, let's go to a coffee shop." I'm like, "All right, let's go to Starbucks." He's like, "No, I want to go to like a coffee shop. You know how the Pacific North,
absolutely,
they're all douchey.
They're coffee snobs.
Yeah,
this bean is not dark enough."
Yeah. So we go. I'm like, well, I read an article about this place called Steady Eddie's. Let's go check this place out. It's in Winters. I think it's like one town over. Mm-hmm. So we literally stumbled upon Winters on accident. Just because he wanted coffee. Went to Winters, got the coffee, and we're like, "Oh, dude, this is a cool little downtown. Like, let's go check it out." So we go check out the one barbershop on, I think it's called Classic Cuts or something.
Yeah.
On Main Street. Went check them out. They're like, "Hey, man,
at the corner right there."
Right. So like, "Hey, man, you need a haircut?" I'm like, "No, I'm a barber student. I'm just checking it out." He's like, "Hey, you want to work for me?" I'm like, well, I'm a barber student. I'm not a barber." He's like, "I don't care. I need someone here like a couple days a week extra. We're overloaded. Winters is growing." I'm like, He's like, "Hey, listen, first of all, here's a couple things. We don't cut people who are dirty. So if they come out of the fields, they need to go home. Mm-hmm. Like my dog's gonna be here. I don't like cutting kids. I'm not into cutting kids. If they want to hit kids cut, charge them double so they get out of here. Don't come back, right?" The guy was, he's low-key a jerk.
Hardcore.
Right, but he had a certain type of people that he wanted there. That's fine. Yeah. That's his business, right? So he's like, "Hey, if you want to go check out another barbershop, there's a younger group over there. They're Latinos. They give good haircuts, but it's not. We're just here. We're here to serve the farmers in their hands, and we just want in and out." So I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll go check it out." But he's like, "But hey, if you like it, if you don't find anywhere else, like I'm willing to let you work here."
Sick. It's just how often does a job just fall into your lap?
And so I'm like, wow, I'm not even done with school. I'm like 4 or 5 months away from being done, but I was just interested in seeing a shop in this little town. Mm-hmm. So then we walk over to this other shop, and the young veteran's there, and he has like a 19-year-old kid in there named Mike, who's cutting hair. And so same thing, I go in there like, "Hey guys, do you need a haircut?" I'm like, no, I'm actually just a barber student. I'm just checking out the shops around here, He's like, "Hey man, you want a job? You want to work for us?" And I'm like,
"You got two jobs in under an hour? What the?"
And I'm like, "Well, hey, listen, I'm a barber student. I can't." He's like, "I don't care. I need someone here like on Sundays, Mondays. I know you don't go to school on Sundays, Mondays. Just come cut with us. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. So there were a younger, cooler vibe. I'm like, okay, this is probably where I would rather be. So I did. I started working there part-time. Within like 2 months, he's like, hey, bro, I'm leaving. I'm going to Idaho. You know, like, I know you're almost done with barber school, but you want to buy the shop? And I'm like, well, offer it to this guy, Mike, first. He's been working for you for a while. He's like, well, he's an apprentice. You know, he's too young. He's not going to buy it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, just offer to him. So he offered to him. Mike said yes, and then later on he said no. Mm-hmm. So last minute, he's like, hey, dude, I'm leaving. Like,
and your conscience was clear.
Right.
Let's go.
I was trying to do everything on the up and up. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's buy it. I bought it. And he literally dipped like a week later.
Really?
And it was my shop. I've never run a business before. I wasn't even a legit barber at that point in time.
So it was trial by fire.
Just trial by fire. I knew I wanted to make the place look cooler and better. I knew I'd spend money. Just some common sense stuff. And I just threw everything out that, you know, and it came out good. And I was like, wow, I'm really proud of the way this looks. If I ever do it again, I kind of have an idea of what to do.
What inspired your kind of design sense when you came up with this? Is this all your brainchild, just the way it looks and everything?
I think really, truly, the only thing that in my mind, I was picturing Hollywood. I wanted these lights around the mirrors. You know what I mean?
That does look like
right. I wanted that Hollywood look, right? Plus, I wanted it to be bright. The other thing I was thinking of is like, I actually wanted wood, like, you know, that rusticy wood on that people put on walls now, and for whatever reason, I couldn't figure out like
you're breathtaking
any way to get the wood. So I'm like, okay, well, what about that wood tile? So then I talked to a tile guy who actually was Mike's dad. His name's Rigo Fierros. I think it's Rigo Fierros. Mm-hmm. Rafa Fierros.
Okay.
They're in town, and he's a brick mason. He's like, well, I can do it, but I can do brick too. And I'm like, well, how would that look? And so he's like, well, let's just do it halfway up. I'm like, okay, let's just try it. Let's just do it.
Look good.
So, and boom, man, like, I'm like, wow, that looks great. Like, I'm so glad that we went with
these
the
are
brick.
all legit. This isn't just some imitation brick.
Those are real bricks. He's done all 3 of my shops. Great mason. Mm-hmm. If I do a 4th shop, I'm going to do it again.
Where do you think 4th shop might be?
It'd be by the Travis Air Force Base.
Very good.
Right there. I mean, the only problem right now is there's a little shortage of barbers. Mm-hmm. However, I mean, we're booming. Our name's big. I mean, we're probably going to get into that real quick. But now's the time. So it's going to happen. I'm going to do a 4th shop.
Where'd the name Primos come from? Is that just kind of...
Primos is like it's like a Latin word, like, hey, we're family, we're cousins, like, hey, Primo, hey, Primo.
Yeah, just a term of endearment.
Right. What's up, homie? But, you know, it's like more Primo. Hey, Primo. So now everyone called me Primo. It was just a good name, but it was also an Italian sense of like a primo cut, like something really nice.
Oh, primo.
Like a primo. It has a primo.
I like that.
So it has like a dual meaning. I like it. I love the Latin culture. I was adopted by a white family, but I'm Mexican, and I'm really big into Latin culture. I love it. The food, the women.
Spicy, goddammit. It's lovely. It's just nobody parties harder.
No, it's
nobody.
And Winters is a predominantly Latino and white town. I mean, it's everyone gets along. It's like a 50-50 town. It's great. I love it. I love everything about Winters. Winters, for those who don't know, it's the food capital of the world. It's a hidden gem.
Right. El Verduzco, that taco truck.
Oh my! It's the best taco truck.
It's Primo.
The Green River, Hoobies. You got Preserve, Buckhorn, Puda Creek. You got various brewing.
Buckhorn steak bites are just
steak bites are heaven. I have a hard time ordering anything else just because those are so good.
I don't want to say I take somebody on a date there. Like, I don't want to seem like a cheap ass, but it's like, I don't get the $70 steak, but the $15 appetizer steak bites with garlic bread and their regular bread that they shove down your throat.
Freaking sourdough bread that I could just go in there and eat sourdough bread.
That's it. Don't
give
pay
me a beer.
I'm out of here. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But so that's how I started these shops, and I've gotten one every year. Like I said, they're a pretty easy investment. You do have to have the money on hand. If you have $70,000, a barbershop's a hell of an investment.
But you got to get that's just the atmosphere in here, and the people you bring in too.
You're gonna make that back in 1 year. In 1 year, you're gonna earn your money back, right? And then everything else is profit off of that. Especially, I have 7 guys working here, so 6 plus me, right? Mm-hmm. They pay all the rent. They pay for all the beer. They pay for all the Wi-Fi. Everything's paid for. So in a sense, where I make my money is it's not from the shop because I utilize their money to pay for everything, all the amenities and everything, right? I get the free chair. That's where an owner gets his money. Is like, hey, I'm not paying anyone rent. I'm not paying rent on the building. They are. You know what I mean?
You're like a working landlord with them.
But the return you have to give them as an owner is you have to be fair. You have to keep rent at a reasonable rate, and you also have to take that rent money and spend it on the shop because they're leasing a station. They're in sense, I'm their landlord, and I'm providing them a nice place. So anything it breaks, I have to fix it. All these beers that the clients and us are drinking, that's from the shop. You know what I mean? So it's well worth it. The clients love it. The barbers love it. They're happy. I'm happy. And I don't mind spending money on the shop.
You can tell, you walk in here, it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's like pissed off. Looks like you do well by them. It's clean.
We're easily the best shop in town. We're the busiest shop in town. We're one of the newest shops in town, and we're killing it. And whether or not other barbershops are upset about that or not, for the most part, I think all of it. There's so many people in Vacaville. You could open up 5 more shops in this town, and everyone's going to eat.
Plenty of hair.
Plenty of hair. We turn away, and we send them to other shops all the time, and I'm sure they do the same. There's just a lot of. Barbering is one of those things that is always going to be around. Like, the recession's bad. You need a job. You got to get a haircut. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're going to have senior portraits. You got to get a haircut. If you're in a Latino community, that's what we do. We get haircuts. You know what I mean? You're a military town, a law enforcement town. Those guys are required to have haircuts. And so Vacaville, Winters, Dixon, Fairfield, this is gold, man. This is easy money.
Hairy bastards.
And they have standards and they have to uphold. You know what I mean?
And it's kind of talking about coming to America again. Their barbershop scene, or just any kind of even with Ice Cube, that barbershop. It just seems like a cultural place. You come in here, you can have a good conversation with the person cutting your hair.
Yeah, definitely.
It just seems like a barbershop's a place to be to just kind of unwind, just
You shot me in the ass.
figure out what the hell's going on in the world.
Yep. Let's see if that stays there.
We're ready to roll?
We'll see.
So,
it is a barbershop. This is the last place we get to be men. We can come in here, we can drink, we can swear, we can talk about.
You say bad words?
Yeah, you can say bad words. You can talk about beautiful women. You can talk about sports. You can talk about politics.
What about ugly women?
You can talk about ugly women too.
They're good?
All women are beautiful.
Absolutely.
All women. I don't care how they look. They're all, at some level, they're all beautiful. So, and beauty's only skin deep. Like the real beautiful women are the sweet, kind.
Sweethearts.
The sweethearts. And that's real. That's true beauty.
You got to reciprocate.
Right.
With a good haircut.
Right, and we got to send these guys out looking right to get the right one. Look, unfortunately for our country, but fortunately for my industry, is we're such a driven. All we care about is our looks and how we're going to look on Instagram for the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
It's unfortunate because I feel like morally, it's a high standard to uphold. It's not as, I don't know. I think in the long run, it's going to cause more issues. However, what a great time to be a barber or in the beauty industry, because people care all day, every day about how they look.
There's a certain amount of, I'd say, vanity that goes into it, but at the same time, if you're looking good, you have a good haircut, you feel like you can take on the world. You feel 100%, you have that much more of a chance to getting that job, to having that date go well.
Or even feeling good in uniform. Hey, look, when I had to get a haircut every week because I wanted to look squared away. I wanted everyone to see me, just be like, man, that guy cares about his looks, his appearance. He's squared away. You know what? I'm probably not going to mess with that guy. There's plenty of sloppy cops out there that I could probably.
Their greasy ass hair hanging over their eyes.
They're chubby. They're fat. They're just. They don't hold a high discipline or standard for themselves. Breaking away from the story real quick. I almost got shot one time. Right. It was really crazy. I was in Oakland. Long story short.
On duty?
On duty. I was in uniform. And so I pull over this guy. He's not wearing a seatbelt. It's in the middle of the day, 3 in the afternoon. Great guy. When I approached him, hey, sir, the reason I stopped you is young black kid. Just as polite as could be. Hey, sir, I'm sorry. I just got here from Arizona. Here's my Arizona ID. Blah, blah, blah. It's my girlfriend's car. Hey, my uncle's a lieutenant in the Alameda SO. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, that's cool, man. it's no big deal. I'm just gonna write you a citation for not wearing your seatbelt. We're doing like an overtime thing. It's an impact. We got to make sure. So there's zero tolerance, but you're being nothing but polite. Let me just get
You're just doing your job.
Just doing my job. Yeah. And he was a polite young gentleman.
Yeah.
At that point. So I go back, I write him a ticket. I come back, I'm like, okay, I'm going to tow his car. So I call in the tow truck, whatever.
You had to tow the car.
Right, because his Arizona ID came back to a California license that was suspended. And that's why he handed me so he knew he was suspended. He shouldn't be driving in our state. So when you're driving a suspended on a suspended license, it's a misdemeanor. I got to tow your car. Mm-hmm. Especially because it's not his car. I can't be like, all right, have a good day, and then him go crash and hurt someone. You know what I mean? Because now I'm liable as a highway patrolman, right? So I come, hey man, the reason I'm writing you up for not wearing your seatbelt. Also, when I ran you, you're suspended. Did you know that? He's like, oh man, yeah, I forgot.
You know.
Yeah, I forgot. Okay, no big deal. I'm like, hey, no big deal. Just come out of the vehicle. Just leave your keys right there and just sign the ticket. We'll get you on your way. He's like, oh, okay. So he's thinking like everything's gonna be cool. So he comes and signs the ticket and blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, dude, I need you to go back in your car, get anything that you need, and I need you to bounce, bro, because I'm towing your car. He's like, wait, what?
Wow.
So we always have people sign their tickets before we lay it on them.
Yeah, before you drop
we
the ball.
We don't want to lay it on them and then be like, fudge you. You know, like,
yeah.
I ain't signing crap, blah, blah, blah. And then now it's an issue. You kind of want to sell your ticket, get him out of the way, and then tow the car, right? And like I said, up to that point, he was a complete gentleman. And he had me feeling all kinds of comfortable.
Yeah.
Just because he was such a polite kid. You know, like, to be honest with you, pulling over people in Oakland, there's probably like, I pull over like 20, 30 people a day, and 25 of them were polite. 5 of them are just complete assholes. But when you have someone that's like extremely polite, it's a rare thing. You know, at some level, they're like, everyone's kind of put off by being a ticket. And I don't blame them. You know,
yeah,
no one likes,
not a good time.
No one likes to get a ticket, right? No. But he was a complete gentleman, complete kid. And like I said, I definitely had my guard down. I just thought, wow, what a great stop this has been. So I'm like, yeah, man, hey, so unfortunately, like, he's like, oh, man, hey, like, can I just call my girlfriend? She's right here in Berkeley. Like, she can come with the car. She's pregnant. And I was like, oh, man, normally I would. And I really would have. Normally I would have been like, all right, dude, just call out your girl. I'll wait for you guys here, and then she can drive off, right? But I'm like, normally I would, but we were doing an overtime that was high impact. And so there's zero tolerance during this overtime. And we would do this overtime in Oakland to help on the city streets probably like twice or 3 times a week. So I'm like, hey, man, unfortunately, I got to tow your car, man. So he's like, oh, so he's him and Han, like, please. I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. It's done. The tow truck's on its way. Just grab whatever you need out of there, and you got to roll. It's like, oh, okay. So we go to the car, and I follow him. Usually I follow on the opposite side of the car. So if he's going on the driver's side, I'm going on the passenger side, right? Yeah. So that way you can kind of watch what's going on. For whatever reason, I dropped the ball. Again, I could only say because I was probably comfortable. So I follow him. I'm on the driver's side. And I'm behind him, so his back is to me, the door's open, and he's like leaning on his front seat looking for something, you know, like his paperwork. And so I'm like kind of behind him, and right away I'm like, damn, I'm in the wrong spot, you know?
Something
like I start thinking, and it's January, so but it's a nice clear day, but it's cold out. So I'm like, hey bro, come on, hurry up. Can you hurry, man? Like, I gotta get this going. Like,
he's still fumbling around.
He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I got it. And I'm like, oh, so what I didn't tell you is his car was the exact same car that I had just bought. It was a Honda Civic EX, right? So we had the same exact car. Both of them were brand new, and I had his car keys because I didn't want him to grab his keys and take them. So I'm holding his car keys. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, hey man, you really got to hurry up, man. Like, this is taking a while. And he looks back at me. He's like, oh yeah. I'm just looking for my jacket. And when he looked back, I see him just pouring sweat. And this is January, right? And I'm like. Right away, I was like, oh, man, now I know something's not right. So I backstep like 3 steps, and I pop, because I held the key that was similar to my car. Yeah. I knew there was a trunk button. And I just, for whatever reason, I popped the trunk button. And the trunk in the Honda Civics at that time popped up. So you didn't have to like pop it and then push it up. It just popped up on its own, right? So I did that. I dropped back, and I look. Boom, there's freaking shotgun shells, you know, all in his trunk. I'm like, oh, you know, like at the same time. So I pull out my gun and I kind of like charge him. He's coming out of his car with a gun, but he's like coming through the car. So I barely see it. And I just like, bam, I hit him on the back of the head with my gun. I'm like, don't have to move, screaming, like, don't. So he drops it, and I'm like, I kind of kick him down to the ground, and I'm like standing over him, like, don't move, or I'm going to freaking shoot you, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right. So I'm like calling like, hey, 1035, I need backup, you know.
What's 1035?
It's kind of like, so 1199 means like I got shot already. I'm like, help me now or I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
1035 is like one below that. Like, hey, if I don't get help ASAP, I'm gonna get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, like I'm in a bad spot. And so at 1035, you know, and I'm in the city streets, you know, right, pretty much within 30 seconds I was hearing sirens, but it was, you know, these moments take forever.
Oh God.
But they're like that. And so he's screaming, you know, he's like, yeah, like yelling. I'm like, why didn't you freaking tell me? Blah 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 blah. So
he was looking, like contemplating, I'm gonna shoot you. He's planning on killing you.
Right. So he's and so it was right. The gun was right under the seat where he was leaning on. And I didn't know that, you know, like, again, I was comfortable. If I would have been on the opposite side of the car, I could have seen him better. But I was behind him, you know. So not only did I definitely made mistakes. I trusted him a little bit too much. I was too comfortable. And I didn't go on the opposite side like I was taught. So there's definitely mistakes on my end. Mm-hmm. So long story short, backup gets there. We get them all hooked up, right? One of the rookies takes him back to another car. And so we're looking through the car. There's like 4 or 5 pistols. The shotgun in the back, it's sawed off.
Is there a gang affiliation, you think?
Yeah. So we look under the floor mat of the passenger side, like 122 bindles of crack cocaine.
Jesus Christ.
So he was dealing. He was all kinds of bad, but he played me, right?
Yeah.
And so we get him back to the office, and they're like, hey, bro, like, why didn't you just run, or why didn't you just shoot that cop? Like, so the FBI came in and
FBI got involved?
Yeah, we called the FBI because we're like, hey, man, if you roll, like, we are always trying to roll people. Like, hey, if you tell us something bigger than this, then we can help you. If you can't get us something bigger than this, then you're asked out.
If he has all of that, there's definitely somebody he's reporting to.
Right. So, and we had all the guns, and the guns had like numbers scrubbed off. So the FBI is investigating or whatever. Long story short, those weapons came back to different murders. I got a pretty good, like a letter of accommodation from the FBI for helping them find blah blah blah. But it was totally on accident. It's totally, So when they asked him that, the whole point I'm telling you this is for this line is because when they asked him like, hey, how come you didn't just shoot the cop? Like, why did? He's like, well, listen. He's like, I looked at the guy's hair and it was dialed in. He's like, I looked at his boots and they were shiny, and his brass was polished perfectly. He's like, I wasn't lying when I'm telling you that my uncle was a cop. He's a cop, and he's squared away. That guy, if there's any guy in the world that I know that I would have to like get the beat on, it's a guy like him. He's like, and I saw his little Marine Corps pin, and I'm like, damn, if I don't get him, I'm dead. If I can't time it perfectly to kill this cop, then I'm for sure dead. Because he's too squared away. This guy's too squared away, right? And, obviously I'd let my guard down and all that. But because I was disciplined, I would get haircuts every week. I would polish my brass every day. I would shine my boots every day. I made sure my uniform looked perfect. I had my pins on. Like, I took a lot of pride in how I looked and how I presented myself.
It's discipline.
Right. If I would have been a sloppy cop, he probably would have been like, I got this. You know what I mean? But it was the discipline that helped me. It was the Marine Corps training. It was so I tell people that all the time, especially young cops. I'm like, hey, how you look, it matters.
You'd say that saved your life.
I would say it saved my life. So, being in this industry, we cut, if you look at our walls over here, I cut tons and tons of cops.
There's so many patches here. How many patches do you know? Got to count?
I don't even know. Let's call it 250.
Yeah, that looks about right.
250 maybe.
They're sick. Some of the designs on them, it's
and
just...
you know what? They're all from clients.
They're donated. They're like, hey, I brought
clients
this.
Bring them in, and we love it, dude. I'm hoping to get the whole entire wall.
Oh, you will?
Yeah,
oh,
done.
For sure. I haven't seen that Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Yeah.
That's a sick patch.
We got a Special Forces one. We got the... Luke Skywalker Ranch fire patch over there.
Oh, I like it.
It's pretty rare. We got one from NASA sent to us the other day.
No shit.
A lot of people have been sending them lately because of the whole media thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about that media thing.
Let's
look at that segue.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
You stayed open. It was just...
defied.
I'd say defied the status quo, the powers that be.
Right.
Then there's a story with that. You're on CNN, on Fox as well.
Right.
Let's talk about what was that whole experience like? What happened?
The overbriefing is like March let's call it 15th or 16th, they try to shut everyone down. We kind of like, okay, well, we're not shutting down. Like, it just didn't seem reasonable. All my barbers are, are young families, So I'm like, hey guys, you know what? I just don't see it to me as scary as everyone's making it out to be. Let's just stay open.
Mm-hmm.
So Vacaville PD came in maybe like 2 or 3 times. Vacaville Fire came in 1 time, and their whole thing was like, on the side note, they were like, "Hey Juan, just do what you got to do, man. We're not going to cite you. No one's getting in trouble. This is new to everyone, right? So we're just going to educate you, and you say, okay, cool, I got the education, and if we have to come back." So basically, the only reason that they were coming in the first place was because like other barbershops and other citizens were calling like, "Hey, those guys are open." And that's like the thing about COVID-19. Everyone started snitching on each other. It was a pandemic run 100% on fear. And so
that's all you ever see on the news was
all you see is everyone fearful, and so that turned everyone into a snitch. I mean, like neighbors you would have thought loved you were telling on your kids because they were playing on the swing set. You know what I mean?
Really?
Neighbors that you thought were cool were calling on you because you got in your car and went to Walmart without a mask. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how our fellow Americans turned on us so quickly.
You see their true colors.
Yeah,
not for everybody. Some people,
but
like
it was fear. I would say some of them were honestly fearful.
Yeah.
Other of them are like just Karens and they want to
Karens are over the goddamn world.
Dude, they want to whine and cry about everything. But some of them were probably legit scared,
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the pandemic was. I mean, the media loved it because they're getting their story told. The government loves it because wow, this is what power really feels like. You know what I mean? We can make some off the wall rules and look at everyone's following them, right? And so, I'm just not that guy. I've never been that guy. I've not been that guy as a Marine. I've not been that guy as a highway patrolman. I've as a group home kid, I've always had like some sort of chip on my shoulder. And I'm stubborn. And for the most part, though, I've learned how to utilize it correctly, right?
Right.
There's obviously sometimes I've gotten myself in trouble. But that's another
next
podcast. Yeah. So they came out, and they were being cool about it, and I thought I was being cool about it. So then one day the captain came in, and a captain from because one of their guys came in, and he was super cool. Like, hey, Juan, like, just do what you got to do. But I guess he probably went back and they're like, hey, so did you shut him down? He's like, well, no, I just educated him.
Do you know these guys personally?
A couple of them, yeah. A couple of them I did. So then this captain just storms in here like 30 minutes later, like, hey, my guys have been telling you to shut down. Why haven't you shut down? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, because it's just education. You can't really do anything about it, can you?
Was it illegal to stay open?
It was against an order, which was a guideline. Those aren't laws. It's not constitutional. Like there's no rule that says that
sit down and take it until you run out.
Right, like there's a constitution that gives us the right to pursue life, liberty, happiness. Even if you look at the California Constitution, it literally says that possessions is one of the things that we're allowed to obtain and allowed to keep. So this is something that created a livelihood. I mean, this is not like just some hobby. This is how I feed my family. This is how all these people feed their family. You know what I mean? And you tell us that we can't, and then tell us that there's no. And it's like, so when the captain came in, I'm like, okay, well, hey guys, what do you think? Do you guys want to shut down? I'm gonna move. If we shut down, I'm cool because I'm just gonna move everyone to Winners. I'll just make it look closed, but I'm staying open.
Yeah,
I'm still cutting hair. No one's gonna tell me I can't make money. And no one's going to tell me my rent's not stopping, my insurance isn't stopping, my PG&E is not stopping. I have to pay these rent, and so no one's going to tell me that I can't, that I'm going to lose my shops over this COVID-19
If they
thing.
cut that out, then I would say, okay, if we can sustain our livelihoods without
if the cities were like, hey, here's your money back for your business license, sorry, you don't get to work. If PG&E was like, hey, don't worry about paying the bill. If my landlords were like, hey, it's cool, dude, don't worry about paying it. You're like, everything's covered. Then I can understand it, but that's not what happened. Mm-hmm. No one said don't worry about paying. In fact, all these big corporations got these loans. Like I don't have employees, right? But Ruth Chris has employees. The LA Lakers, Harvard University.
They applied for that same like small business
loan,
and
they got him.
The Lakers,
they got him. They got it. So these real small businesses are no help in sight, right? And it's not. I don't pay into state. I don't get unemployment. Mm-hmm. Because I'm self-employed. All my barbers are not my employees; they're self-employed. So we don't get the disability or unemployment that most people get.
Right.
And then when they finally did offer us something, it was $167 a week. Like
who's supposed to do with
who's
that?
Who's going to do? What can you do with $167 a week?
You're forgetting the $1,200 you got in the mail.
Oh, the stimulus.
Oh yeah, didn't that do you good?
Yeah. So, anyways,
putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
I have 3 kids, man. $1,200.
Oh my god.
Far. So anyways, so I'm like, you know what? So all the guys on some level were like, hey, we're just gonna go cut it in our garage. You go cut in Winners, which I did, and I didn't skip a beat. I made just as much money as always, but I didn't have these guys paying the rent. So now the rent was coming straight out of my chair. So my shops were never gonna close. However, like, you know, that sucks. You know, basically I'm losing, you know, $8,000 a month trying to keep all my shops afloat, which I would have done. I mean, I would have done. I wasn't asking for anyone's help. I just wanted to stay open. Well, then, you know, and I'm like, okay, this is like the first week of April. Let's call it April 3rd. Mm-hmm. So we finally bowed out. So we shut down Vacaville because it's hard to hide. I mean, we're a very popular shop.
This is a good spot downtown.
It's a great shop downtown, but we're in the public eye. It's hard to hide. All these other barbershops are crying that we were staying open and they weren't. But it's because none of them had balls. None of them had balls. They wanted to fold and...
What they think was going to happen? Say there's the order, but was there $10,000 fines on the horizon? Something they could just...
I honestly think that, you know, a lot of these guys have no law enforcement experience. They have no military experience. So I think some of these salons and hair shops really thought, okay, SWAT team's going to kick down our door and fucking arrest us and like put us all at gunpoint and arrest us for working. Like that's literally what they thought, that we were going to go to jail, right? What they didn't read into like was that the governor had a no bail schedule. Like that means like you could kick my ass right now because the bail schedule doesn't lift until June 20th, right? You could go steal my car, right? And you're going to go to jail and they're going to fingerprint you and then they're going to let you out the back door because there's no bail. There's no need. Yeah, if you're not an atrocious, violent felon, like if you didn't violently rape someone or freaking murder them.
Just a good old fashioned murder.
If you're just like a regular robber, bank robber, if you drive a crane into Best Buy, you're going to get arrested and you're going to get, you're going to go get fingerprinted. You're going to get a citation. Like, hey, whenever our courts decide to open, we'll give you a call or we'll send you a letter.
If not, it's cool.
Right. So no one's going to jail. No one's going to jail. Right. So I'm like, well, if real bad guys aren't going to jail, they're not putting me in jail.
Law-abiding citizen.
I'm a law-abiding citizen that's a business owner. Like, what's the worst they're going to do? They're going to give me a citation. And at some point in time when we get to court, are they really going to... What district attorney is going to want to charge me, with a misdemeanor, $1,000 violation for working?
Misdemeanor for doing his
job? Because look, in 6 months when the courts open up and then 8 months later when they finally get through all the criminals that got cited and released, right? Then they're going to get to us. So you're looking at about over a year from now, they're going to get to us and they're going to be like, no district attorney or judge is going to be like, you know what, I want to get voted in, so this is a wash. These are good people. So no one was. So I knew that because of my law enforcement experience and because of my military experience. I knew this government was just running amok, and I wasn't going to stand for it. So that's when I was like, you know what, I'm putting a post out there. I'm going to be bold. I want this to be the just boldest. Yeah, let's put it out there, man. Boom. I'm going to open up May 1st, and I put this out there. Let's call it April 25th. And I was like, I'm done. And then the governor went on TV saying like, I don't think barbershops are going to open. We're not talking about weeks here. We're talking about months. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to go out there. And worst case scenario, I'll get cited and I'll have to pay $1,000 a month. But I'm sure I'm going to get tons of support. And I don't think it's going to fly in court. And freaking, you know what? Like, I just don't care. Mm-hmm. I just want to be bold. I just want to take a stand because I don't believe the data adds up to what everyone's stressed about this COVID thing.
Why are they? It's like it works too perfectly to snuff out small businesses. It's turned political somehow.
It's got to be a power grab on the politician side, and it's got to be a money grab. Because look, if you're the auto industry and you have hundreds of millions of dollars, right, and you have lobbyists that go to Congress and be like, hey, man, we're essential. So make sure, how we donated $100,000 to your campaign?
Fuck.
Make sure we're essential.
We're pretty essential.
We're pretty essential. Like the carpenters unit, hey, like construction is essential. Mm-hmm. Bankers, they have money in the lobbyists. Like bankers are essential. Like cash checking places, that falls under finances.
I think all these guys just got hammered together one day and just like, essential Taco Bell.
Who donated to us? Okay, they're essential. I got $100,000 I owe these guys. You know what I mean? The plumbers union, they're essential. You know what I mean? So what the barbers don't have is we don't have a union. We don't have a lobbyist. We're independent contractors, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with our industry is we want to be so independent, right? It's a blessing and it's a curse. right? So we didn't have anyone lobbying for the nail salons or hair salons or barbershops because and so it's like, oh, cool, we can shut these guys down, look like we're hard asses, take power, and keep everyone scared, right? While all the people who contribute to us will keep them open, right? And that's exactly what happened. You know,
you got a lot of love and like the community backing for sure. Is everything on your Instagram?
Right.
I mean, those people coming in just show support.
Since we decided to open up, and we did open up, and we stood our ground, we got the service cease and desist, and we didn't care. I mean, obviously the media helped us out a lot. I'm not sure if they wanted to help us out, but it did help us out.
How did that come to be?
So I was cutting hair on Wednesday, the Wednesday before May 1st, which was Friday. So 2 days before. I'm getting a call, and I'm cutting hair undercover. I'm like, blinds are down, closed. Hey, one person at a time. Hey, wait in your car until I call you. I'm like the speakeasy barbershop. You know
well, it's just like you press a button, all of it turns into salons.
And if anyone comes in, I'm like, oh, this is my grandpa. I'm just cutting him. I don't know.
You got it figured out.
Yeah. This is my cousin, Keith Gertz.
Oh, God.
He's the redheaded, blue-eyed guy. You know what I mean? That's my cousin. But anyway, so I'm working Wednesday. It's like 11:30. I get a call, just a random number. So I put it out. I put it on my social media. Tons and tons of people started sharing it. Like, oh, look, Primo's going to open. They can't open. Like, no. Like, so like tons of salon girls got a hold of it and were like, oh my God, like, how dare he? Like, he's going to hurt our industry. He's just an asshole. So like most people were against it at first, right? And so
was it more so out of them salty that they're not reopening, or that you were endangering people's lives?
I think both. I think the liberal side of the house was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna he's gonna start a pandemic here in Vacaville. But a lot of it was like, oh man, like we're not brave enough to do it. So how come he gets to do it? Like he just can do that? Like no, like someone needs to stop this guy, kind of thing, right? So it was more of that, I would say, than anything, right? Mm-hmm. But there was tons of people secretly like, good, finally someone has balls enough to stand up, right? Like I don't know if they're gonna. I mean, they might go to jail, but. But at least he's doing something, right? So
were you prepared to go to jail?
I was,
just in case.
I was prepared to. Dude, I mean, I worked the county jail, man. That would have been like heaven, bro. Those guys would have given me like burritos every night. Yeah, they probably would have given me a duty belt, and I would have just helped them all out. Like I would have been by myself in a place, and they.
How to wheel deal the cigarettes, all the
conjugal visits. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Who knows what would have happened, right? So
give haircuts in there.
Yeah, like I was not scared about going to Solano County Jail. I mean, I would have been a king there.
Yeah.
But so then we I want to say some local news reporter. I was here on Tuesday night, and I was setting up a bunch of shirts that I was going to give away to people just for showing up and being brave too, right? And we were like, oh, it's going to. So a news crew just happened to drive by, like, hey, can we stop and talk to you? We heard a rumor that you're going to open up. I'm like, yep, I am. I'm going to open up on the 1st. So they do like a little interview, and that's all. I thought, okay, that's cool. It's going to be on like Channel 4 Bay Area News. I don't watch Bay Area News, but
did you know who the news people were? Or
no, I think it was NBC Bay Area.
Okay,
that was the very first one.
That's
they came. They did like a 5-minute interview with me, and that was that. I'm like, that was kind of cool. Like, I'm not shy of the media. When I was a highway patrolman, I used to talk to them all the time about crashes or scenes or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm familiar with talking to them and kind of what kind of questions they're gonna ask. And I was trying to be bold. So I think maybe their sister company on 13 levels later was CNN.
You're breathtaking.
And so they started like, hey, you got all these patches, like. So I think the story for them was like, hey, this guy's a former law enforcement, former Marine, and he wants to buck the system.
This is like some spicy.
Yeah,
content.
like this is good. Like, like we can spin this and like the whole Hollywood Marines are assholes. You know what I mean? Kind of thing, right?
In their muscle cars.
Who does this guy think he is, right? Yeah. So CNN calls and they're like, hey, we have this lady. She wants to interview you live in 30 minutes. Are you cool with it? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, she's a big deal. I'm like, I don't watch CNN.
Who was it? Some lady. Some gray hair?
No, she's actually young.
Yeah. What do I know? Like CNN's gonna put somebody old.
Yeah.
They're gonna get some eye candy.
No, I think she was low key, probably one of their